Welcome everyone. I am Srinivas Rao, Assistant Professor, Department of Microbiology, Dr. B.R.R. College at Cherla. Today, we will discuss about measurement of microbial growth. It is often required for the routine determination of the microbial population. In order to monitor its progress. Microbial growth measurement, it determines growth rate and generation times. So these have different measures, but the way the microorganisms measured are classified into two types. There are broadly two methods. One is direct method. And the second one is indirect method. There are two methods. We have direct method, another one is indirect method. These two are the major methods through which we measure the growth of microorganisms. What the direct methods includes? The direct methods includes some other techniques like the exclusively direct methods helps in measurement of dry weight, cell count, another one is viable count. These are the methods through which we can measure the microbial growth. In indirect methods, we'll go for turbidometry, spectrophotometry, extraction of cell components, another one is CO2 production, oxygen utilization. These are some indirect methods through which we can measure the growth of microorganisms. Especially, the measurement is very easy and accurate, and these are sensitive methods. It's very simple for estimation of unicellular organisms. But filamentous organisms like fungi and the actinomyces, if they present, it has some problems. The speed of analysis is also critical, as an instant indication of biomass or cell concentration is often required. In growth measurement, the faster methods are frequently less reliable, and longer procedures are generally more accurate and reproducible. So better to go for longer methods where we evaluate exact count of microorganisms. Hence, we can say the organisms are growing well. Now we'll talk about one method after one method, and those methods includes different sub methods. We'll talk about direct methods. In direct methods, a microorganism can directly measured. In direct methods, first one is the method under direct is direct microscopic count. Method is direct microscopic count. What is a direct microscopic count? Direct microscopic count is nothing but we subject the cultures under microscope and we count the number of cells present on the slide. It is very difficult for us to count number of cells present in a suspension on a slide. Hence, there is a special slide has been designed. That slide is Peter-Hauser chamber, Peter-Hauser chamber, or we call it as Neubauer chamber. We call it as Neubauer chamber. The specialty of the chamber, this chamber mainly used in counting of WBC and RBC. The chamber will be like this. And it has grids in it. Like this, the grids. Here also we have grids. Like this, we have grids. Here also we have grids. And here also we have grids. The chamber will be like this. When you pour sample on it, on surface of the particular slide, let's say example, if there are the microorganisms. Now we focus this slide under microscope. We focus this slide under microscope. We take this slide, we take known volume of the sample. We take the known volume of the sample, that is maybe 1 microliter or 2 microliter volume of the sample will be taken. And the volume of the sample will be kept inside of this particular chamber. And we keep it under microscope and we will count the number of microbial cells present in a particular grid. We count grid by grid. By counting the number of cells within a portion of the grid, the number of cells per millimeter can be determined. Direct microscope method are rapid and give correct number. But however, there are some disadvantages to this technique. The microbial population must be fairly large. For accuracy, because such a small volume is sampled. It is also difficult to distinguish between living cells and dead cells. Living and dead cells cannot be distinguished, but we can count the number of cells. We can count the number of cells present in each grid and the volume of the sample, and hence we can count number of microorganisms present and growth. This is direct microscopic count. Another technique is electronic cell counts. Electronic cell counts. The electronic cell count method is also rapid, but most methods are more suitable for large unicellular microbes, such as yeast, protozoa, some algae, and less useful for estimation of the bacteria. Counter current, an instrument used for this purpose, is based on the principle the change in electrical resistance produced by non-conductive particles suspended in an electrode type. This method involves drawing suspension of a cell through a small hole or a orifice across which an electric current is maintained. As a cell passes through the orifice, it displaces its own volume of electrolyte and changes in the electrical resistance. The instrument fairly like this. When you see here, you have an orifice or a orifice, and here it is plugged with a cathode or anode like this. This is the buffer trough, and this is a whole one is it's a completely buffered one. This is a whole buffer solution in it. Now we are going to keep, this is the microbial sample solution. Now we all know that the current must pass like this to complete the circuit. But here we have an orifice through which the microbial cells slowly falls into here. When microbial cells are falls in the solution like this through the orifice, it impede the current flow. It stops the current flow. When the particles of a larger size are passing through it, it will stop the flow of current and which will read it as a resistance. As a cell passes through the orifice, it displaces its own electrolyte. And changes in the electrical resistance. There is a changes in the electrical resistance occurs. These changes are detected and converted to a countable pulse. However, it essentially counts particles, and it is consequently prone to error due to cell clumping and the presence of particulate debris. There is a artifact and defect that sometimes cell clumpings are going to take place, debris are there, some other components will also be noted which will stop the flow of current and resistance will be noted. But it is one of the technique through which we can count the number of microbial cells. We can count the number of microbial cells. This is a electronic cell counter or counter current method. This we call it as a counter current method. And next technique is plate count or viable count. Plate count or viable count. It is one of the technique. It is one of the technique. It is one of the technique. What we do is we prepare the media, take the Petri plate, we prepare the media, and on the media we are going to spread the known volume of sample with known dilution. Before a sample being plated onto the Petri plate, that sample must be serial diluted. The dilution may be 10 to the power of -1 to 10 to the power of -10. To get a bacteria, we are going to choose 10 to the power of -6 to 10 to the power of -7. For a fungi, we will choose 4 to 5. These are the best dilutions to get appropriate fungal or bacterial colonies on the Petri plate. Now, after preparing a proper medium, we'll take any one of the dilution. Either you can take 10 to the power of -6 or 7 and take a known value, maybe 1 microliter, 1 microliter or 2 microliter of sample and spread it on the Petri plate. After spreading, incubate it for 24 to 48 hours and check for the colonies. And now on the Petri plate, you will get colonies like this. The colonies may appear after incubation 24 to 48 hours. Now these are the colonies developed on the Petri plate. Each colony represents one microorganism. Now either you can count physically or you can count by using a colony counter, and we need to count the number of colonies present on the Petri plate. Now the count will be given in the form of CFU. CFU means colony forming units. CFU can be get through CFU is equal to number of colonies counted, number of into dilution taken divided by volume of sample plated. How much amount of volume you have plated. For example, here you got 100 colonies and you kept a dilution of 10 to the power 6. Now CFU is equal to, now this is 100 into 10 to the power of -6 divided by value, maybe you have plated 1 microliter, 1 ml microliter, that is 10 to the power of -3, micro means -6 ml. Now what happens? This will come up, it will get cancelled, and you have 100 CFU. Now you have the CFU is equal to 100. Colony forming units for per ml. This is how you are going to get the viable count of the bacteria. It is one of the reliable and good method to count number of viable bacteria. Sometimes we can do the same for estimating microorganisms in water sample and some of the filterable samples. We use filter paper and filter the solution, and we take that filter strip and we'll place it on the agar plate and we'll count the number of colonies. So plate count or viable count clearly gives you the accurate number of living cells in a particular sample, and you can notice the growth of the microorganism. These three are the main methods which will comes under direct measurement of microbial growth. That is direct microscopic count, electronic cell counter, and plate count or viable count method. And now let us talk about indirect methods. We'll talk about indirect method. Indirect methods are the methods which we are not going to directly measure the microbial number, because most of the time it's a constraint to count each and every cell because of its size. But most of the time it is easy for us to go for indirect methods, as I said, spectrophotometer, calorimeter, or its cell activity, or else we go for CO2 and oxygen utilization and CO2 production. So one among them, one of the method is turbidometry, or spectrophotometry. Both the techniques are similar. Both these techniques helps in estimation of microbial growth according to the optical density. And it is easiest method. In previous sections, we learned about microbial growth curve. In that, the growth curve can be obtained by using turbidometer or spectrophotometer. This is a simple technique and simple process which can done in our laboratories. After inoculating microbial cells in a fresh media or fresh broth, hourly will take the turbidometric measurements, means calorimetric or spectrophotometric values. The increase in the growth results in the increase in optical density. By noticing and observing the optical density, and we can measure the growth of microorganisms. These methods mainly very important in industrial applications. And next one is dry weight estimation. Dry weight estimation. Dry weight estimation. This method determines the weight of the total cells, both living and dead. In liquid culture samples, it involves separating the biomass from a known volume of a homogeneous cell suspension. This is usually achieved by filtration under vacuum. This is by filtration under vacuum. We are going to filter the solution under the vacuum. After filtering, The filtrate will be collected and it is pre-weighed. It's a pre-weighed membrane filter with the pore size of 0.2. The pore size is 0.2 micrometer to 4 micrometer, where most of the microorganisms or bacteria trapped on the surface. The filter then collected, cell is washed with water to remove any residual growth medium and dried to constant weight in an oven up to 105 degrees centigrade. And after that it gets desiccated and it expressed in milligrams per mg per ml. Means here we collect the means very simple. We grow the cells in a, for example, this is the conical flask, and we grow the cells in the conical flask microbial sample in a broth, and we filter it. The filtrate will be taken, it is dried, desiccated, make into powder, and we weigh it. The more the weight, that specific ml gives the growth. This is a dry weight estimation. Another technique in estimation is that ATP biolumimetry. ATP biolumimetry. Bioluminescence, ATP. There is a problem with ATP and it's an use for us. ATP is rapidly lost from dead cells. It will not stay long when a cell dies. Hence, it is very useful for us to determine the concentration of viable microorganisms. The amount of ATP in a sample can be quantified by using ATP biolumimetry. This technique utilizes an enzyme substrate complex, luciferase luciferin. Luciferase is an enzyme and luciferin is a substrate. This is obtained from the firefly Photinus pyralis. Which has a luminescence property and glows, which generates a photon of light for each molecule of ATP. When there is ATP molecule is there, this enzyme releases a photon of light. How much amount of ATP molecules are present, those many photons of light is produced. When aggregate of luciferase and luciferin added to ATP, extracted from sample in cell suspension, the light generated, because for one ATP, it produces one photon. The light generated can be detected in a biolumimeter and the signal will be amplified and we are going to express in a digital analog, and so that we will get the, means here light intensity is directly proportional to the presence of ATP molecule. This procedure is very rapid and sensitive. Under optimum conditions, 10 femtomoles of ATP can be detected. It is equivalent to the 1 yeast cell or 10 bacterial cells, means 10 to the power of minus 15 moles. But this is one of the sensitive technique, but sometimes it's a Queller quenching is a disorder of this particular technique. Or otherwise, ATP biolumimetry is one of the indirect method for determining the microbial growth. Another one is determination of nitrogen content. We all know that almost all 14% of bacteria is with nitrogen. To measure the growth by this technique, we must first harvest the cell and wash them free of medium and then estimate the nitrogen content. So we need to take the microorganism means for all these techniques, we need to grow the organism in a conical flask, need to centrifuge it, separate from the medium, and you will get the microbial cells. After getting microbial cell mass, then you just go for a chemical analysis. Chemical analysis by employing Kesdal method. So, chemical analysis method where we will get the nitrogen content present in this particular volume of microbial cell pellets. The bacterial nitrogen determinations are somewhat laborious and can be performed only on specimens free of all other sources of nitrogen. But it is one of the constrained method, but sometimes we can use this method estimation of the nitrogen content. Another method to estimate microbial growth is measurement of metabolite. Measurement of metabolite. Microorganisms produce and release a variety of metabolites into the environment. In many cases, the amount of metabolite produced is proportional to the magnitude of the bacterial population. For example, we may know take species that produce an organic acid from glucose fermentation. The amount of organic acid produced provides an indication of growth achieved by that organism. Say activity, cell activity, we call it as cell activity. Number of cells is directly proportional to cell activity. The completion of the activity speed up with respect to the presence of microbial cells. Can see a simple example in curdling process at homes. If you are going to add starter culture less, it will take long time to get curdled. If you add more culture, it take less time to get curdled. Means curdling process, milk turns into milk to curd is one of the microbial activity. So purely addition of the microbial cells is a direct proportion of its activity. So a growth of a microorganism can be measured here. Number of the microbial cell grown very quickly, it results in the formation of end product very quickly. So measurement of metabolite. Like this, we have turbidometry, dry weight estimations, ATP biolumiноmetry, weighing of the nitrogen content, and by estimating the cell activity. These are some of the indirect methods through which we can measure the microbial growth. When I concise, this microbial growth can be measured by using direct and indirect methods. These are very simple and basic and very important methods through which we can able to measure the microbial growth. Thank you.